Conjugate is when you switch the sign of an expression. So the conjugate of this number would be 3x minus 1 instead of plus 1. We can do a few more examples. X squared minus 3, its conjugate, x squared plus 3. Another example is a plus b, a minus b is the conjugate. Conjugates can be useful when doing simplifying radical expressions, but first I'll show you just how to use them. So, a plus b times its conjugate, a minus b. Well, that equals a squared minus b squared, because if you use distributive property, a times a is a squared, a times b, negative b, is minus ba, then b times a plus ba minus b, which these two cancel out. Negative ba plus ba, those cancel out, and then you just have, oh, that's b squared. Then you have a squared minus b squared. Okay, so let's start by using real numbers. So, let's do 1 over 3 minus the square root of 2. Well, there's a radical on the bottom, on the denominator, and you can't have that since that's in one of the rules. So, we multiply both top and the bottom by the conjugate of the denominator, which is 3 plus the square root of 2. Now, 3 plus the square root of 2 over 3 plus the square root of 2 is 1, because you say if the same number is the same on the top and the bottom of in the numerator and denominator, it's 1. So then you just solve. 1 times 3 times the square root of 2 equals 3 plus the square root of 2 over 3 squared minus, because negative and a positive make a negative, and then the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, so the square root of 2 squared, which will just cancel out to equal 3 plus the square root of 2 over 7. And 7, because 3 squared equals 9. The square root of 2 squared, well, the squared and the square root cancels out and just would equal 2. So you'd have 9 minus 2, which equals 7.
So tell me a problem.
Let's do the example of 2 over 5 plus the square root of 3.
Like that? So we multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator, which would be 5 minus the square root of 3 over 5 minus the square root of 3.
Yeah.
And that equals 2 times 5 minus the square root of 3 over 25, and we say the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 would be 3, so minus 3, which equals 22. And then we can simplify this, so this would be 11 and this would be 1, which doesn't really mean anything once you have that. So the answer would be 5 minus the square root of 3 over 11.
Perfect.
Good thing I have coffee to solve these problems.